Welcome to the Contact Center Gurus, the podcast for contact center and customer experience leaders. Learn best practices, new technology, tips and tricks, and more. Listen in.
All right, welcome back to the Contact Center Gurus, episode 3, and we have a fantastic guest. His name is Paul Hussar. He's the leader of technical support at LG Electronics. So I would love to give Paul a little bit of time to introduce himself.
Thank you, Jessica. It's good to be here. I have an interesting background, I guess. I earned a general engineering degree at the United States Military Academy at West Point, served as a paratrooper and an infantry officer, got out of the Army, got my MBA in finance from Boston University. I worked in corporate finance. I've worked in field service engineering. I've worked in consulting, and finally got back to leadership role in customer support and the call center environment some time ago.
Wow, what a career. That's fantastic.
It's been fun.
Yeah, fantastic. So today we were going to talk about lean techniques in the contact center. So I would love if you first explain what is lean and how does it fit into a call center environment?
Yes, lean is a methodology that does two things. One, it helps us focus on the value stream, looking at processes and eliminating waste. I prefer creating efficiencies better. Yes, it's a different viewpoint. It also helps us identify root causes of specific problems and develop a plan and countermeasures to counteract those root causes, and again, make the value stream more efficient. Lean is the little brother to Six Sigma, which most people have probably heard of.
Yeah.
They were both born in the manufacturing environment. Six Sigma is much more statistically driven, and appropriately so for a manufacturing environment because of all the machinery and the processes involved there. It's well suited to that environment. Lean is less dependent upon strict statistical analysis, which makes it more flexible and more effective in an office environment. Lean is also a way of thinking. It really is. I have a buddy who's a factory manager, a general manager. He was directed to fire 20 of his people, and he didn't like that. So he found out what the objective was. The objective was to reduce annual costs by a certain percent. So he got all his people together and he told them, I've been instructed to reduce our headcount by 20 people, but if we can save this much per year, we won't have to release anyone. After the people got together and used certain lean techniques, they were able to save a lot more. In that process, they eliminated a few jobs. So they still had people who had nothing to do. So what he did was he formed a temporary lean team. This team was available to any department in the factory to help them work on process improvement. And that was a very successful exercise. So much so that he made that team permanent, assigned team manager, and people could come and go as they pleased through that team. If they had an interest in working in lean, they stayed. If they were just being displaced from an efficiency achievement, they could stay there till another position opened up. So it's a fabulous process and one that really works well in the call center because we are basically a live production operation. And as we all know, a few seconds here and a few seconds there make a big difference. And lean is a very effective tool to accomplish that.
Oh yeah, even the complexity. So sometimes support centers, they're viewed as cost centers. And sometimes people try to lean out employees, as you just suggested in that scenario, instead of actually looking at other operational costs. So I think the lean techniques will be definitely very, very valuable. So why are you a lean advocate then? You seem very, very passionate.
Yes, I am. The lean methodology, uh, when I was first introduced to the formalities of lean, I discovered I'd been lean all my life. when
Funny. In
when
your
I was
personal life and business life.
Yes, it was just something I naturally did. When I was an internal auditor out of grad school, um, we used the Arthur Anderson audit methodology, which is very similar to Lean. And after doing a couple of operations audits, even one in a call center, I was a real advocate of that process, looking at different processes and finding the efficiencies in them. And the tools are fantastic. You've got a huge toolbox with Lean for any situation, and I just find it very, very effective when applied in an office or call center environment.
Wow. Okay. So I'm kind of new to lean. I'm not lean certified. So what are some of the aspects of lean execution that you have found that are crucial to its success? Because there's lots of methodologies out there. So I would love to hear your input.
The first and most important is its focus on the individual. Um, as a leader, I love that. I don't know what's going on at every moment, at every level, but the individual who's doing the work, they know. They know what works and what doesn't work. And Lean values every individual in the organization. It encourages every individual to participate in this way of thinking, of reducing waste, making processes more efficient. So a lot of the tools bring people who do the work together to find these efficiencies, and I find it very effective. There's another component to that aspect, and that's training, making sure that people receive the training they need to stay efficient and to be a part of this process. The other aspect is continuous improvement. Again, it's that way of thinking. When I take over a team, the first thing I'll tell my new team is the only constant is change, and I can promise you.
I love that. Yes.
So I'd rather embrace that than have it imposed upon me. So if you accept that change, you're always looking for ways to change, and that continuous process improvement methodology becomes even more effective.
Wow. Okay. So has lean ever failed you though?
Not me personally, but there's even a process for that in Lean. It's called PDCA, or Plan, Do, Check, Act.
Okay.
When you're looking at a process and you make a plan, you execute that plan, and then you check it. Some people know this as the after action review. That involves taking a look at the results and seeing if they achieved what your goal was to achieve. If they don't, then you re-enter the process. Plan, do, check, and act. You can adjust the changes you just made, or you can start over, reject them entirely. I tell my people, I don't care how hard I've worked on something. If we execute it and it doesn't work, it's gone. If I'm not making their job easier, I'm not making them more successful, and that's a waste of their time and it's a waste of my time.
So let's look at it in your daily life as a leader of technical support at LG Electronics. So how big is your team?
My team right now is 13 people. We are growing. We have plans to expand our operation to include other functions. So we have a lot of change going on right now.
Okay. And do you use this methodology, is it weekly, or how do you kind of use it in your world right now?
Right now, it's almost daily.
Daily.
I've got a lot going on. I'm about to launch 2 other operations in different cities. I am moving a third from one location to another,
Oh,
And like I said, I'm bringing in several new functions. So we've got a lot going on, and this process helps me stay on track and really reducing any unuseful time for me.
so is your team responsible for technical support for end consumers, or is it more internal?
We are a B2B organization. We sell ductless air conditioning to manufacturer reps and distributors, who then sell it to contractors. And a homeowner will hire a contractor to design a system and install our equipment. So it's much like an automobile. If you have a problem with your Ford, you don't call Detroit. You call your mechanic who did the work on it, or your dealership who sold it to you, and they're responsible for the actual customer service. Where I am now, we deal with technical support for our contractors in the field working on that equipment and our distributors and reps. I have also done customer support, of course, in other organizations, more traditional customer support that you may be that people may associate more with call centers.
Oh, wow. So the team under you that you manage, are they handling a lot of like cases and tickets, or is it kind of like personal touches?
It's cases and tickets. We document every call. So if there's a follow-up at any time, 6 months to 6 years, we've got that documentation. We know what we've done before, and we can begin our troubleshooting at that point, rather than going backwards and doing everything all over again.
Oh, wow. So what about how many cases does your team handle a month, probably?
A month, I deal in days. We have our average for the year is about 165 to 170 calls per day.
Okay.
And that will vary, of course, based on season. In air conditioning, of course, in extreme weather, we have volume changes that can be dramatic.
Well, I'm in Arizona, so it's probably very demanding here.
Yeah, so you're a permanent fixture on our call records.
Yes. I'm probably a VIP. So, yeah, can you give us some examples where you've used lean techniques to reduce waste, either operationally or any other expenditures? Except people. Just kidding.
Yes, yes. I took over an organization that it was a turnaround situation. They had one metric, service level. Service level was 20 to 30% per month, depending on the month. They had issues. So I spent my first month listening, asking everyone what they did, how they did it, what they thought about what they did, what they think they should do. And I got all that feedback. Then in the second month, I started talking more and asking specific questions, working with some of my senior people. Working with them, in the third month, we began to formulate a plan to change our operation. It was not organized very well, and the way it approached availability was subpar. So in the end, we ended up taking one organization, splitting it into 3 teams by geography, east, central, and west, with a team leader on each team. We developed specific queues, so those customers in that region could start forming relationships with a specific team. And we began to formalize for the first time processes on how to process a call, how to process a lot of the tasks that we face day to day. Well, when we implemented this, the results were stunning. They shocked even me. Our first day, service level was in the 90s.
Oh.
And it never went below. For the remaining years,
Wow.
it stayed above there. Everyone was just astounded.
It's like magic.
The president told me I never thought you could do it. Not because of
Wow.
me, but because of the situation. So that was one instance that worked very well. And that highlights one aspect of lean. I'd like to highlight another aspect of lean with another situation. I had an organization that had trouble processing return authorizations. It literally took an average of 30 days to produce an RA number for a customer to return a damaged or incorrectly delivered equipment. That's outrageous. 30 days just to get them the number. I
Wow.
couldn't figure out, no one could figure out what the problem was. So I conducted a value stream mapping exercise, and this is an excellent lean tool. I brought everyone who touched the process into a room. Call center agents, accounts, receivable and payable clerks, people from the warehouse, everyone who touched that process was in a room. We put butcher paper all over the walls, and we mapped that process out keystroke by keystroke with sticky notes.
Oh my gosh. Did the sticky notes ever fall off? That's my problem.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. That's a hazard.
Yeah.
But after we did that, in a value stream mapping exercise, you'll hear two phrases over and over and over. The first is, why do we do that? And the second is, because we've always done it that way.
Yeah.
So that exercise opens up opportunities like you wouldn't believe, because all of a sudden everybody knows where they are in the process, and the disconnects were glaring. So at the end of the day, we had redeveloped that process, redefined it, with the goal of issuing an RA number within 24 hours. Again, once we implemented that process, I believe the standard metric level of performance was 2 to 3 hours. So very effective tool. One of the reasons I enjoy this process so much is because the results are so dramatic. They may not always be dramatic in every instance. In fact, in some value stream mapping exercises, it depends on the process you're looking at. You can be looking at a very large process that has many sub-processes involved in it. At that point, you can start pulling processes out and taking a look at what would it take to fix this process? Is this an easy, quick hit, a big victory we can make with a big impact? Is this an important process that really needs to be worked on? And then use the right tool to address that process and fix it. So that's just a few examples of some of my successes with the formal lean tools.
Oh, love it. So if someone was interested in following up in learning lean, or if there's a certification process, where should they start, or what should they do, you think?
Excellent question, because this is my opportunity to really encourage everyone to take a look at lean. You don't have to be as passionate about it as I am, but I believe that it has something for everyone. I personally would start at www.sme.org. That's the Society of Manufacturing Engineers. They have a certification program in conjunction with the Association of Manufacturing Engineers. And in that,
Oh, looks like we lost Paul. He froze up, Paul. But if we don't get Paul back, I will get you guys that website on our YouTube channel, our podcast link. Oh, there's Paul. Oh, you froze a bit. You froze at the end after you gave us the website.
Oh my gosh. All right. So sme.org, the Society of Manufacturing Engineers, in conjunction with the Association of Manufacturing Engineers, have a lean certification program. And whether you're interested in certification or not, they list the body of knowledge for each level of certification, as well as different optional resources that will add to your personal body of knowledge. That's an excellent place to start. It's got a great book on the value stream mapping exercise. It's got books of case studies that will help you actually look at different real life applications of lean and the effects it has in different circumstances. There are all kinds of different aspects of lean that can take you in many different directions. But the ultimate outcome in every direction is an enhancement in efficiencies that makes you more profitable, makes you more successful, and makes the work easier for everyone on your team. So I really would encourage everyone to at least consider it, do some research, find out what it can do for you.
Wow, love it. Well, there you go, folks. The values, the benefits of learning lean techniques in the contact center. You know, Paul is also a great resource to reach out to if you have any questions on it. And I'll have his information in our YouTube channel and our podcast website. So I want to thank you, Paul, for your time. And I hope everyone else has a great rest of the day.
Thanks for listening to the Contact Center Gurus podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you next time.